This is Javon Johnson, better known to fans of the Tyler Perry television series The Oval as Richard Halson, aka Richard the Butler. Richard has a wife, Nancy, a son, Barry, and a granddaughter, Callie. Richard is a former military man, a husband, a father, and a grandfather. Richard is also working undercover in the White House as the head butler. Richard is working with Priscilla Owens, the head chef, and her husband, Secret Service agent Sam Owens, on an undercover operation to take down the president, Hunter Franklin, and his family. Tyler Perry has chosen not to disclose to the viewers who exactly they work for, but what he has chosen to do is make sure Richard the Butler catches hell from every direction imaginable. Let's look back at the life of Richard the Butler. Richard's wife, Nancy, allowed their granddaughter to be kidnapped by her mother, Ruth, who was a member of a cult, the Rackadooshies. Ruth was eventually found dead, and Richard's son, Barry, is the prime suspect. Richard had his son come to the White House to help him do some work, only for it to end in the first daughter, Gail, accusing Barry of raping her. The president fired Richard over this accusation, but rehired him once he found out it wasn't true. Richard tussled with Barry over a gun while sitting in Barry's car outside of an apartment complex. The gun goes off. Neither of them are shot, but someone else is. The bullet goes into an apartment building and strikes a man, killing him. So now either Barry or Richard has killed someone. Even though Gail accused Barry of raping her, Richard eventually ends up having to rescue her from some hood niggas after her drug dealer boyfriend, who she snuck out of the White House to go see in the projects, kicks her out of his trap house. Surprise, surprise, surprise. The drug dealer boyfriend is Picky. Picky is the man Richard thinks is his nephew. More about Picky later. At some point, Barry, Richard's son, is taken hostage by the cult. Richard, Sharon, Barry's sometime living girlfriend, and Dale, Sharon's friend, were involved in a high-speed car chase which ended with them wrecking out after being struck by the pursuing vehicle. The pursuing vehicle was most likely being driven by the Rackadooshies since they were out trying to find Barry. Even though Richard told Nancy not to try to save Barry on her own, she does so anyway and gets taken by the cult. Sometime after the cult releases Nancy, Richard comes home to find Nancy has a cult leader and some of its members sitting down to dinner in his house. Nancy is drugged by the cult. Nancy tries to hang herself. Richard finds her and takes her to the hospital. The people in the hospital immediately assume Richard did something to her and began treating him like a suspect instead of a distraught husband. While this is going on, the police arrive and tell him they found Barry and he's dead. They take him to the morgue to identify the body, but it's not Barry's body, it's someone else. When Nancy wakes up, she's still high from whatever the cult gave her, and she starts speaking the truth. She tells Richard about the affair she had with his father while he was away fighting in the war. I assume he was either in Afghanistan or Iraq. She tells him how big his father's dick is and how she wanted his dad and not him, but his mother found out about the affair and made them end it. She tells him that Picky was her and his father's child, but she had her crackhead sister raise him as her own because Richard couldn't find out about the affair or the child. So basically, she told Richard that the last 30 or so years of his life have been a whole ass lie. As it stands right now, Richard's life is a shit show. The world is lucky he hasn't become a mass murderer. Let's do a quick recap of Richard's life, the shit show that it is. Richard found out his wife was a trifling asshole while he was in the military. He found out his father was screwing his wife while he was away at war. He found out that basically his family ain't shit because they knew about his trifling ass wife and ain't shit ass daddy screwing around but didn't tell him. His son was an unemployed, disrespectful ass clown. His son was at one time an accused rapist. His son was suspected of killing his baby's mama. His son got him fired from his job in the White House. Here his son is a killer because of the man they shot and killed while they were tussling over the gun. His son is dead. His granddaughter's still missing. His dead nephew was really his stepbrother and stepson. He's about to divorce his trifling asshole of a wife, and his friends keep telling him he shouldn't do it. They keep trying to talk him out of it. He has to deal with all this while trying to keep whatever mission he is on from falling apart or being found out. And lastly, he's caught in the middle of a shootout in the White House without a weapon. Yeah, I think Shit Show describes Richard the Butler's life perfectly. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below.